You can return all my Christmas presents because honestly, the only thing I want this year is for the Denver Broncos to make the playoffs. And guess what? It feels like this might finally happen after nearly a decade. The team has been making some big changes, and I think they're setting the stage for something amazing. In this video, we'll break it all down. The latest updates on injuries, like Riley Moss, the weather conditions, and so much more. If you're new here, I'm Ben, a diehard Denver Broncos fan. I usually live in the Midwest, but I'm back in sunny Colorado, and wow, I've missed it here. Oh, and one quick favor. If you believe the Broncos are going to make the playoffs, give this video a like and hit that subscribe button. It helps the channel a lot and keeps me motivated to bring you more content. Now, let's dive in. The first piece of great news: this Broncos team has been showing resilience all season. They've bounced back after every loss. Here's a cool fact for you. Nix has never lost 3 games in a row in his entire playing career, not even in middle school. So, do you really think he's going to let that happen now, when it matters most? No way. Sure, the Broncos lost a couple of games early in the season before finding their rhythm with Nix. But ever since then, even the toughest losses haven't stopped this team from fighting back. The Broncos have been on fire this season, putting together some incredible winning streaks. 3 games, 4 games, and even 2 games in a row. Remember when that field goal block happened? It felt like a low point, and we all wondered if the Broncos were about to give up. But instead, they bounced back with 4 straight wins. Even after the embarrassing loss to the Baltimore Ravens, the Broncos turned things around and outplayed the Kansas City Chiefs in their next game. When we lost to the Chargers the first time, the team came back strong, finishing the fourth quarter on fire and winning the next 2 games. And let's not forget how we handled those first 2 early losses. The Broncos responded with a 3-game win streak, which included traveling to the East Coast twice and playing in that dreaded 11 a.m. time slot, a challenge that has been a nightmare for Broncos teams in the past. That's the kind of determination we're seeing this season, and it's exciting. Now for today's big news. Yes, the Cincinnati Bengals are a powerhouse team. Joe Burrow is playing like an MVP, and their offense is explosive. But as they say, matchups make fights. And this is a clash of strengths. The Bengals' high-powered offense against the Broncos' solid defense. To me, it feels like a tie. Here's another great update: Riley Moss. After the Raiders game, Sean Payton mentioned that if it had been a closer game, Moss could have returned to play. The team has been cautious, holding him out through the bye week and even during the extended 10-day break after Thursday night football. This careful planning should pay off as we head into these crucial matchups. I think Riley Moss is going to be ready to play. If he wasn't, I doubt Sean Payton would have mentioned how well the defense has been performing because of him. Payton even said, "Hopefully that happens this week," when talking about Moss returning. I don't think he'd say that unless it was likely to happen. Sean Payton has a track record of making bold statements that end up being true. Remember when people said there was no way Drew Sanders would return? Well, not only did he come back, but in his single snap last week, he delivered a sack. When Payton says something will happen, it usually does. So, with Riley Moss expected back, this changes everything. It gives Vance Joseph more flexibility in how he calls the defense, and that's a game changer. The Denver Broncos are taking the playoffs very seriously. While most of us are relaxing and enjoying Christmas Eve, the team is out on the practice field. Not only that, they'll be practicing tomorrow too. Even with a 10-day break after Thursday night football, they're not taking it easy or saving their energy for next week's game against the Kansas City Chiefs. They're all in this week, and that commitment is inspiring. What amazes me most about this Broncos team is how Sean Payton has found the perfect balance. He's kept the team focused and prepared without pushing too hard, and it's paying off. This kind of leadership is exactly what we needed to make a serious playoff run. Sean Payton has mastered the balance between being a player's coach and a disciplined leader. He's created an atmosphere where players love playing for him, but he also keeps everyone focused and in line. You won't see Broncos players complaining on social media about not getting enough touches, walking off mid-game, or causing drama like what happened with Deontay Johnson and the Ravens. Payton has this team locked in, practicing on both Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and yet there's still a strong sense of camaraderie. It's like a college atmosphere in the best way possible. The entire quarterback room, along with their wives, recently took matching Christmas pajama pictures together. Okay, maybe matching PJs aren't the most manly thing ever. Let me know in the comments what you think. But it's pretty cool to see that kind of team bonding. Even Bo Nix mentioned he didn't expect the NFL to feel so much like college. When the team stayed on the East Coast between games against Tampa and the New York Jets, they even went paintballing together. That kind of connection is rare at the pro level, and the credit goes to Sean Payton for building such a tight-knit culture. Now, looking ahead to this week, there are some exciting changes on the horizon. Of course, getting Riley Moss back is huge for the defense, but another big shift could be a heavy focus on the run game. We know Sean Payton famously wrote "run it" at the top of his play sheet, and this week it's going to be even more important. The weather conditions are expected to be tough, making a strong running game essential. Expect to see a lot of carries for Audrius this week as the Broncos adapt to the challenges ahead. The Bengals might lean on their running game this week, but that actually works in the Broncos' favor. Our defense has been incredible at stopping the run all season. Even in tough matchups, we've held some of the league's best running backs in check. In the Baltimore game, we limited Derrick Henry to just 22 yards in the first half. While he did more damage in the second half, we've also stopped guys like Jonathan Taylor and Bucky Irving when we faced the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This defense knows how to handle run-heavy teams, and with the Bengals leaning on the ground game, we're ready. Offensively, I think we'll stick with the run, just like we did in the first half against the Chargers. This time, though, I expect us to stay consistent and not let up. That focus on running the ball could be key to getting the win this week and keeping our playoff hopes alive. It's surprising that we're 3-point underdogs going into this game. We're better rested, healthier, and definitely more motivated after such a long playoff drought. The team knows what's at stake, and Sean Payton has done a great job preparing them for this moment. As for all the criticism Sean Payton has faced, some people on Twitter are even calling for his job, which is crazy. If there's one thing I know, it's that Payton doesn't let outside noise distract him. Nobody takes his role as head coach more seriously than Sean Payton himself. He's focused on proving the doubters wrong and leading this team to success. This week, I think we'll see the most creative play calling from the Broncos all season. Don't be surprised if Bo Nix gets used more as a runner. Teams haven't had an answer for that, and we've seen glimpses of it before. Remember that Thursday night game when we ran the read option with Bo? He nearly hit 100 rushing yards himself against the Saints. I wouldn't be shocked if we see something similar against the Bengals. If the Broncos make the playoffs, it will be a huge deal. It's wild to think about since we were only expected to win 5 games this season. Plus, we're the underdogs again, with most of the national media picking against us. But honestly, that's the perfect spot for us. We thrive when no one believes in us. What's even more impressive is how far we've come despite major challenges. We've been dealing with Russell Wilson's massive cap hit, and we've had to give up multiple draft picks to get both Sean Payton and Wilson. Yet, this team is proving that success is about more than just having high-value players or first-round picks. It's about culture, teamwork, and how everything fits together. George Payton and Sean Payton deserve a ton of credit for building this team and showing what's possible. The Broncos are more than just the sum of their parts, and if we keep this momentum, the potential is limitless. This could be the start of something truly special. I came across a great article recently about how well Brandon Jones has been performing, and I think it highlights something exciting. This is the new standard for the Denver Broncos. With Bo Nix leading the way, we're set to be in the playoff conversation for years to come, possibly the next decade. A lot of this comes down to having an incredible talent evaluator like George Payton. He knows how to find the perfect players to fit Sean Payton's system. At the start of the season, many of us were worried about how Brandon Jones would fill the shoes of Justin Simmons, our only Pro Bowler from last year. But here we are, and there's even an argument to be made that Jones has outperformed Simmons' play from last season. He tied a Steve Atwater record, and anytime you're in the same conversation as Atwater, that's something special. Adding David Shaw to the staff this year was another brilliant move. With Shaw and Patton working together, they're constantly analyzing the weak spots on the team and finding the right pieces, whether through the draft or free agency. This approach gives Sean Payton's system even more support and ensures Bo Nix gets the help he needs to succeed. I'm feeling really optimistic about the game against the Cincinnati Bengals. My family and I are heading back from a long 17-hour drive, but I'll be back just in time to live stream the game with all of you. Let me know in the comments what your predictions are for the Broncos versus the Bengals. Also, did you get anything Broncos related for Christmas? Maybe a jersey or some cool gear? Either way, there's so much to believe in right now. The future is bright for the Denver Broncos, and I can't wait to see what's next.